A well-known North Texas gymnastics coach locked up after 3 girls accuse him of sexual assault, and one of those victims is sharing her story only with News 8. It is a story we broke on social media today. The allegations involving the coach's time at so-called Gymnastics in Fort Worth. Welcome to News 8. I'm Cynthia Izaguirre.
I'm John McKay. Skipper Crawley is behind bars in Indianapolis at this hour. He's awaiting extradition back to Tarrant County. Our Todd Unger broke this story. He joins us now. So, Todd, these are really disturbing allegations.
John, indeed these are. Detectives have been working to build a case here since April, and like you mentioned, the disturbing allegations put forward in these arrest warrants are something no parent would want to see. Let's take a look at 51-year-old Skipper Skip Crawley. As you mentioned, he was arrested late last night near Indianapolis and will soon be transported back here to North Texas. The sexual assault warrants paint a picture of a gymnastics coach at Sokol, Fort Worth that molested 3 girls, one as young as 7 at the time. The documents state Crawley would talk about marrying one of the girls and touched all 3 of them repeatedly during practice times at the gym. All of the girls passed thorough forensic interviews by child specialists. One of the victims' mothers tells us they are all devastated.
Because I can look at pictures of her prior to it and pictures now, and I can see it in her face. I can see it in her eyes. I can see it in her face. She's not the same little girl. He's stolen not only her innocence, but he's stolen my baby.
Now, Crawley no longer works at Sokol Gymnasium. That facility's attorney told us they want a thorough vetting of these allegations. Much more on this is available at WFA.com, and of course we'll have a full report coming up tonight at 10. Reporting live, Todd Unger, Channel 8 News.
All right, Todd, thank you. Now to